Hello, this is Paweł from DevOps Codes Academy. Welcome to another episode learning about AWS Cloud and Terraform. Today we're gonna learn about CloudFront distribution, how to set up content delivery network in AWS. Before we jump into the console, I would like to invite you to our Facebook group, DevOps Codes Academy, where we want to build a community, share knowledge so we can share our problems, share some results, and help each other. So the link is in the description of the video. Please feel free to join us in DevOps Codes Academy. And today we're gonna learn how to use caching of the CDN of CloudFront, how to be closer to our users. We're gonna deploy S3 bucket website with index HTML file with some image there, which is quite big, around 10 megabytes. So I will show you the difference with not using CloudFront and deploying it, and we will see how much faster it is for end users to get our static resources when we use CloudFront distribution. All right, let's jump to the console. Okay, we are back in the console. So today we're gonna learn a little bit about Amazon CloudFront, which is content delivery network. It allows us to store and cache some files very close to the users. So if we have, for example, some static page with some images, we can keep it on CloudFront, and the first hit for our resource from specific region, it will download it from the origin, in our case from Amazon S3 bucket, and any other user that will come at the same region will have this image already closer to himself. So that's a very nice and useful feature, and you can see that we have 1 terabyte of data transfer out with AWS free tier. You can go to the documentation and browse a little bit more, because CloudFront has a lot of different functionalities, very specific for different cases. We can also use it for streaming videos, etc. We can define some functions to modify the headers of requests, of responses. We can connect it also with firewall. There's a lot of things that we can configure, but today we're gonna focus only on a simple caching. All right, so if we go to the S3 bucket, and I have my S3 bucket from the Terraform code, right? So the last time I didn't delete my resources, and of course I recommend you to pay attention to the resources in the cloud, because always you are responsible for any potential cost. However, at this point, what we are doing, it's using Amazon free tier. So even if you left the EC2 instance running here, it shouldn't cause you any costs. All right, so let's create a new branch at CloudFront, for example. Okay, let's jump to AWS, and as you can see, there's the remote state and there's S3 bucket, which should have configured static website host, right? So when we open this link, there's nothing there. So let's upload 2 files. I have prepared index HTML, and I modified it a little bit from the previous lessons. And this index HTML, I will show you in a moment, and I will attach it to our repository. Will display a simple image, right? So this is how the website will look, DevOps Codes Academy. This is my S3 website with CloudFront, and there's a very nice image from Phuket here in Thailand. So the file, it's quite big. it's around 10 megabytes. So of course, when we open it locally, it's always very fast when we refresh. But take a look when we gonna open it on S3. I think it will take a little bit of time to download, and I think we can even see here in the browser. So and you can see it's downloading, it's taking some time. And it took 13 seconds to download this file because I'm in Thailand and the bucket is in EU Central, right? So it's in Europe. So all the file has to be transferred from Europe to me in Thailand. If I refresh it, it will use caching because you see it's cache, but this is the cache from the browser. Let's open a private, and I think it will download it again. Yes, you can see it's downloading again. So every time a new user is coming, it has to be downloaded. And of course, we don't want our users to wait for such a long time. Of course, the image could be minimized also. But let's see if we're gonna configure CloudFront in front of our S3. And first we can go to the browser. Distribution, let's create a distribution. And you can see that we can choose origin domain and we want to use our S3 bucket. The path, we're gonna leave it, enter the name of this origin, it's okay. We can have it public for now, just go with defaults, compress, and the methods we're gonna have only get and head, it's okay, cache, and caching optimized here, so you will see that caching should work. Use all edge locations, so we can also define which regions we want to use, and global will be most expensive if we go to the price class, and of course there's more documentation about that, but at this time we're gonna use the free tier, so it's gonna be okay. We can also have a custom domain for our CloudFront, but at this point we're gonna use Amazon's, just to show you how does it work. Okay, and we can see that it's deploying right now, and this will be the distribution name. It will take a while to become available. All right, so of course we can go to Terraform documentations, CloudFront distribution, and there will be a lot of properties that we can define, and there might be quite advanced, as I told you in the beginning, but we're gonna try to build a simple one just to start. So as you can see here, we have S3 bucket access control list. We can change it for private, and this is what we're gonna do with our S3 bucket if we don't have it yet. We have bucket, website, bucket policy, document. So let's try to add it and see if it's gonna work or not. All right, can take my bucket here. Access control is private because we don't want users to go directly to our buckets. and we want to restrict the access to only use CloudFront, and I will show you how this will work. Okay, let's try to get this example, and we're gonna modify. We can create a new file here, cdn tf S3 distribution. Let's have it like here. And we got the ID of the bucket is my bucket. So we have to refer to it here, right? We're gonna refer to the type of the resource, the ID of the resource that is defined in Terraform, and then the output, some properties that will be available after deploying Terraform code. Origin ID, we can have it here. So this is the S3 origin, and we have, and it's a locals, right? So we can change it, but we can leave it as here. It's also a good idea to put locals in the top. Locals S3 origin ID, my S3 origin. And we're gonna refer to it here, or even we can take it to CDN file. It's also okay. Just want to show that Terraform is very flexible. This is the origin access identity. Here is the origin access identity CloudFront. We're gonna take a look into it in a while. But let's go to the documentation, and they will say us what is it exactly. So we have origin, and we have origin here. It's required, one or more origins, multiple are required, possible. So we can go down, and origin arguments, that's here, and we have domain name of S3 bucket, so we are referring to the S3 bucket, origin ID and unique identifier. I can have it, or we can use even our, do we have a, take a look quickly, we don't have it, so yeah, let's have it here. We can have DevOps Codes Academy origin S3. You can put your own here. Origin ID S3 origin config. The CloudFront S3 origin configuration information. If a custom origin is required, use custom origin config. And we have it here. CloudFront S3 origin. Let's see what we have here. Origin access identity, CloudFront origin access identity. So we have to create a resource. And we will have the ID that will be exported from it. So we can do it here. My origin access identity, and then we can refer to this ID. Or we can refer to the, do we need an ARN? No, it's not ARN. Using with CloudFront, normally we can refer here, we can use the prefix. So you can see if we have our identity, access identity path. So we can do it here. And we're gonna just change, of course, because this is the resource, and here's an example, and we have the name of the resource here. You can see it's white because it cannot find, and now when it's matched, it's all blue. That's good. And we will also need to update the bucket policy. So we can take this statement, go back to our S3, and we have our bucket policy, which was granting access to everybody. And now we will have S3 get object, our bucket. Exactly, principals AWS, and our origin access identity we will take from here. Oopsie, too much. Okay, and we can comment for a while public access, and we're gonna see how it will be. Of course, you can use Terraform format. That will make it nicer for us. Okay, let's go down. So enabled, next configuration of CloudFront distribution. Enabled true, IPv6 we can leave true, comment we can leave some comment, or we can put my first CDN. Default root object is index.html. Logging, we can leave logging out for now. We don't want aliases right now for the custom domain name. We can have different methods, so we can allow all of the methods, but in our case we don't have any backend piece behind, so we don't need any patch, post, put. Let's try to get rid of it. We can leave get and head. These are allowed methods, and cached. Target origin ID, it's the same that we had already. Forwarded values, query string false, cookies forward none. It's okay. Viewer policy allow all. Minimum time to live is 0. Default time to live is 3600 seconds. So it will be 1 hour, right? For caching. And we have ordered cache behavior, path pattern. So we can see that we have default cache behavior, and we can have an also additional cache behavior for some paths. And in our case, we don't need it. This one we can delete as well. We can leave the price class 200 if we go back to the CloudFront distribution here. Price class. So you can make it price class all 200 or 100. So all will be around the globe. Let's have it here. And we don't want any restrictions. We could make any restrictions for whitelist or blacklist, but for now we don't want it. Tags we can leave because we can later get different way tags by default tags. I will show you this. Viewer certificate, CloudFront default certificate. So thanks to this, we will use AWS HTTPS default one. Okay, and let's see if we have anything here. And we've got access denied right now. So means that CloudFront is working, but it didn't update, I guess, the S3 bucket. Let's see the origin. It's here, origin access public. Okay. No access. Let's take a look for that, but I guess we can go duplicate tab. Let's go to S3, do some debugging here. Behaviors. Gosh, that should be okay here. If we get access denied, it means that we have some problem with permissions between principal S3 object. That's good. What if we change it for a list? Let's try. Quick troubleshooting. If we get access to the bucket, let's try to change it to S3 all just for a second. Save. This is our S3 link. It's working. Okay, and we have list bucket result. Okay, index HTML, and it's working here. Okay, so we have our CloudFront, and as you notice, the image was downloaded. It took a while, but let's go and open private window. And all right, let's make it again. It's much faster, of course, than it was before because it's 10 megabytes. So as you can see now, it's cached locally. But we see that this X cache hit from CloudFront. It means that the file has been downloaded here from somewhere in Asia for sure to the S3 bucket, and we're gonna take the link of our bucket and let's open it. So you see that it's much longer than from CloudFront. Right, let's put it again. See how fast it's here. So now let's try our code. Terraform FMT again. Terraform validate. Okay, and we have at least one restrictions block are required. Okay, so we have an example here that I removed a block of restrictions and it's required. So it sometimes happens. Let's go back to the documentation. See here, CloudFront distribution restrictions. Yeah, they are required. So can go back. And we can go with restrictions and then let's restore it in our distribution, and let's go by the way to the configuration here. Cookies, origin arguments, restriction arguments. So we can see the arguments of geo restrictions are, so we can whitelist or we can blacklist, and the method that you want to use to restrict for your content by country, none. So we can put none. Let's see how this will be. Location, restriction type, none. Locations are optional. So if we have none, we can have it optional. Let's try to validate. Always try to make some good debugging. Hope this brings you some value, how to go and check and deal with some errors. Terraform plan. All right. So we're gonna create a new CloudFront distribution. At this point, we can go back to the old one that we created manually, and we can just disable it first and then delete to see if our deployed by Terraform will work. Okay. Plan looks that's gonna work. CloudFront distribution should be created. We will add access control list to the bucket, and policy will be updated. Okay, let's try to apply this. Okay, and distribution is creating. It will take a while. You see that new one has appeared. It has a different domain name provided by AWS. The old one is still modifying, so we cannot delete it yet. So we're gonna wait a little bit. Can go inside. We have this distribution domain name. Can exchange the last one, and let's point to the file directly. Still not working. S3 bucket. You see, it's not working anymore. It's forbidden because we put access control list, so the bucket is not public anymore. Let's update the page here, and it's okay. And the bucket policy changed, so now you can see the principal only allows CloudFront origin access identity that we configured. Okay, I will do some cut here. Let's wait until it's deployed. And we can see I refreshed the website. Now we have a new DNS here. Let's go to Visual Studio Code. However, you can see that S3 distribution, our CloudFront distribution, is still deploying, but it's already working. So S3 bucket is forbidden. So now the users will only use CloudFront to reach to our website. S3 is good. Okay, so the new one is enabled and deployed. The old one, manual, we can delete. All right. So let's check again. This is the good DNS, D1K7, D1K7, okay. Let's go to the private website, see tools, network, okay. So this is the old one, right? This is not working anymore. We've got it here. And we've got a hit from CloudFront. And we got a hit from CloudFront. That's very good. So now the page is loading much faster than from S3 bucket. And this is how we're gonna use CloudFront content delivery network. Okay, so we're gonna do a cleanup here. Apply was complete. Terraform destroy. We can destroy our resources. S3 bucket, we have forced destroy here, so it will delete the bucket. Even there are some files, we can delete the code that was commented. Okay, now to destroy. And I think we can comment our EC2 at this point. We don't need it anymore. So once you're gonna deploy some stuff. You will not be afraid of being charged. EC2. Just take a look. Are we IAM profile? Okay, I think this will not conflict with anything. We're gonna check it in a while. Let's see, open new terminal in our folder. ls, all right, Terraform FMT, Terraform validate. Okay, configuration is good. Let me add the file, new folder, Terraform website. So I will add the index.html file here. But you can use your own image because I will not commit 10 megabyte file to my repository. It's not necessary. So let me open the index.html once again quickly, just before we finish. Yeah, so this is how this file look. It's very simple. So you can use it if you want to deploy different name and just put a different file. Okay, new file, index.html. Okay, that's nice. So now we can commit all the changes that we have done. Add CloudFront, git push. I have some shortcuts here. Git push setup upstream. So now I have a new branch push to the remote. Let's see if we have git lens here. Pull request. Can create a new pull request. Merge changes from add CloudFront to master. That's okay. Create. Okay, we have it. And we see that the changes are here. There's one commit, merge pull request, create merge commit, it's okay. And we can delete the branch, delete remote and local, that's okay. So in terminal, you can use git checkout master, git pull. We have it done. Okay, the first terminal resources destroyed. That's great. Okay, guys, I would like to invite you to our Facebook group, DevOps Codes Academy. You can find the link in the description of the video. Also follow us on social media. Hope you enjoyed this video. And don't forget to subscribe, to leave the thumb up, any comments, we really appreciate. And see you in the next lesson. That was Paweł from DevOps Codes Academy.